So we are currently 120 episodes into Dragon Ball Super, and that's incredible to think that the series is almost twice the length of GT at this point. And when we look at how far Dragon Ball Super has come, especially in this extremely long Tournament of Power, I have a very different feeling about 120 as opposed to what I felt about episode 119. So if you haven't seen Dragon Ball Super episode 120, leave now or forever hold your peace. So to tell you guys the honest truth, I want us to talk about this here. I thought this was a genuinely good episode. And the weird thing about it is that I like this episode even though nothing really happened. You know, obviously the fight is left on a cliffhanger with Pepperoni powering up to obviously continue the fight into the next episode. But I just feel like this episode was just all around good in terms of how it balanced the characters in the playing field. One of the key things that a lot of people are going to talk about here is obviously dealing with Gohan when he was fighting against the Transformers in this episode. And as Gohan was fighting, I really liked how there were so many different themes going on here. So you have like the tag team force of 17 and 18 who are like firing non-stop ki blasts with limitless energy. Very similar, ironically, to how they killed future Gohan in the anime adaptation of the history of Trunks. So it's funny where you have an episode where Gohan is shining, whereas the androids are also shining even though they killed Gohan in an alternate timeline. And I also found it really cool how, you know, Gohan took it upon himself out of all of the other characters there who were stronger than him to just jump in the way and deal with the fused Megazord in this Tournament Power, and how Pepperoni was like the puppeteer of everything that was going on as he's just controlling all of the strings with his magical staff. And I just really enjoy how Pepperoni, he hasn't really been shown to have like the fighting prowess of all of the other characters, and maybe we could see him doing that in the future, but he seems to be more of the conductor of this team, so it seems like a much more balanced team. You have some robots who fight hand to hand, you have some robots who fuse, Pepperoni controls them, and we also have like that cyborg android connection where 17 and 18 are fighting against, you know, these robots essentially, even though they're not really robots, they're cyborgs, so there's obviously that artificial connection there. And most importantly, I think that looking at this episode, I think the one thing that really stood out to me more than anything else would have to be how resilient Universe 7 has been. And there's been a lot of criticisms from Dragon Ball fans that Universe 7 has been dominating the Tournament of Power so much so far, where it just seems so easy, but you could genuinely see that both Universe 3 and Universe 7 are actually trying in the Tournament of Power. And honestly, guys, although Universe 7 didn't really pull out all of its, you know, biggest abilities with Ultra Instinct, and Goku only briefly went Super Saiyan Blue, I definitely feel like Universe 3 has much more of a long-lasting taste than Universe 4, who was just briefly brought in to say, hey, we just need to get rid of another universe to increase the amount of tension, and then they were just quickly vaporized away. I feel like you could definitely see the spirit of their universes they're continuing to fight. They have their own theme, they have much more interesting characters, and quite honestly, I wish we had found out more about Universe 3 prior to this point of the Tournament of Power, because I think it would have made it even more interesting than it already is. So honestly, guys, I love this titanic robot fight. I wish Universe 11 was a little bit more involved instead of just being a spectator and making Universe 7 doing everything. But honestly, guys, at the end of the day, this was definitely an episode about a universe most people probably don't care about. But to tell you guys the honest truth, I actually really enjoyed it. And for my question for all of you guys today before I close this off is, do you think Gohan's moments in this episode kind of, I guess you could say, highlights him among Gohan fans? As a Gohan fan myself, and for many of you who are fans of this character, were you impressed with Gohan's involvement in this episode? And do you actually think Gohan has a lot more gas in the tank, considering that, you know, he's already made it this far in the Tournament of Power, although he was obviously one of the characters who hadn't trained and fought in such a while, other than the resurrection of F-Arc. So I definitely think there's a lot more to look forward with Gohan, and I want to know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys, and this was definitely a surprisingly good episode by Dragon Ball Super.